Hello and welcome to the Restoration Movement in America. This is an online course for 16 weeks for the entire semester. And in this video, we're going to do some brief overview of the expectations of the course, assignments, requirements, some other things related to what we're going to be doing in the course of this semester. So I would encourage you certainly to watch this video, but I would encourage you as well to spend some time examining the syllabus, which is posted on Blackboard, as well as going through the Blackboard site and looking through some of the other requirements for the course. So we're just going to be focusing on hitting some highlights here, but hopefully enough to give you an idea of what we'll be doing over the course of these next several weeks. A couple things to think about as we get started in thinking about what is it that we're going to be looking at over the semester. Well, in many respects, of course, it is an examination of the Restoration Movement in America, or sometimes also referred to as the American Restoration Movement. We'll be looking at predominantly the history of this movement, thinking about how it's developed over the past couple hundred years. Looking at some significant highlights, thinking about how it has changed and how it's developed. The American Restoration Movement refers to a development that took place within American Christianity in predominantly the 1800s, where there was a significant number of people who determined that there was a need to restore New Testament Christianity. Out of that movement came several different developments, and so today there are a couple of different groups that would fit into this history. The Church of Christ, or the Churches of Christ, which is the spiritual legacy of Faulkner University, is from the American Restoration Movement, shaped by that, this call to return back to the Bible. The history also includes what's known as the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, or sometimes just called the Disciples of Christ. That group also sprang from the American Restoration Movement. And then what are often referred to as the independent Christian churches. These three groups have been heavily influenced by the American Restoration Movement. And so we'll be talking about all three of them. But of course, given the background of Faulkner University, we're going to be focusing more so on the Churches of Christ than the other two, but we'll try to spend some time talking about the development as well. In that, of course, we're going to be looking at a variety of people and movements, beliefs that were promoted, doctrines taught, and distinct practices that mark these groups as different than other groups. But in that as well, we'll also be thinking about what is it that the Restoration Movement provides us for contemporary Christianity. What kind of impact should it have in thinking about not only within the Churches of Christ and the other groups influenced by the Restoration Movement, but also broadly in what we might refer to as American Christianity, using that term in a very expansive sense. And so we'll be looking at that over the course of the next couple of weeks. There are several sets of documents that we'll be reading in this course. These documents are all available freely online. The links are available in the syllabus as well as in the course content. So you do not have to purchase these documents. The Christian System and On Civil Government, if you would like to have a physical copy of those, you can find them through a variety of opportunities, a variety of booksellers, if you want a physical copy. But predominantly, I decided to go with electronic copies to try and decrease the amount of textbook cost or cost of the course. So those links are available. These, of course, are all in the public domain because of their age. So there is not an issue here with copyright So feel free to read these and don't feel like you're trying to skirt the system or anything. But if you would like a physical copy, those are available in a variety of places. The Restoration of the Ancient Order of Things is a series of articles that Campbell wrote in one of his journals known as the Christian Baptist. And so it's 32 articles spread out over several years of the Christian Baptist, and so it's not available in a physical copy unless you have a copy of the Christian Baptist. You would need the entirety of it. To the best of my knowledge, it's not in a physical copy. So all of these we'll be looking at online, and predominantly these textbooks will serve as the foundation for several writing assignments that you will need to complete over the course of the semester. What is it that we are going to be asking of, what we're going to be trying to accomplish over this semester? The objectives of this course include your ability. So at the end of this course, what is it? What knowledge am I expecting you to have? What skills am I expecting you to have? So essentially, what we're looking at here is that there's going to be, or the expectation is that at the end of this course, you're going to be able to talk about where the Restoration movement came from, who were some key figures, what were some key historical developments in the Restoration movement, as well as what are the differences between the religious groups that are heir to that Restoration movement. What are some of the differences between the Disciples of Christ, the Churches of Christ, and the independent Christian churches? While also thinking about the Restorationist plea. Is this valid? Is this something that we should be espousing? Is this something that ran its course? So thinking about, is the Restoration movement something that should be continued and should be something that we should be pushing for today? And so hopefully we'll have the chance to accomplish all of this in the course of this semester. Now, it would be nice, as I've said before, for some of you that have been in my classes, it would be nice that at the end of the semester I could simply ask you, can you do these things? And you say, yes, I can do those things. And then I say, well, here is an A for your class. But that is, of course, not a good way to approach it. And so there are several assignments that will be required throughout the semester that are meant to provide you the opportunity to demonstrate your ability to accomplish those tasks. So we have 4 different types of assignments that will be required over this semester. Since this is an online course, of course, since this is an online course, obviously the majority of these, of course, will be written assignments that you will produce and then submit. So there'll be some critical reviews, some reflection essays, some discussion posts, and then 3 exams. Now, each of these will be discussed in a little bit greater detail here as we go through, but certainly I would encourage you to spend some time reading the syllabus, looking through the assignments as they're posted on Blackboard for additional information. But let's spend some time talking about these different types of assignments. Let's talk about the critical reviews first. You'll be required to do 2 critical reviews. One will be due about midway through the semester. The other will be due towards the end of the course. The first review will be on Alexander Campbell's The Christian System, and the second review will be on David Lipscomb's On Civil Government. Each of those reviews will be 1,500 words. That works out to be about 5 to 6 pages, double-spaced. Predominantly, the focus of these reviews will be on the arguments, the claims that are being made. Certainly, there is a place for some summary, but predominantly, I want you to examine what both Campbell and Lipscomb are saying, critique them, support where you agree with them, support where you disagree with them. So the focus is going to be on that critical review, not just saying, here's what Campbell said, here's what Lipscomb said, but asking, do you agree with this? Is this something that is necessarily the case? And so there's going to be more information on Blackboard, but again, those 2 assignments due throughout the course of the semester. A second set of assignments are reflection essays. This is where we get into the restoration of the ancient order of things articles. Again, on Blackboard under assignments. The syllabus also includes how they are going to be spaced out throughout the semester. These articles much smaller than the Christian system and the on civil government. And so they won't require as much reading, and they will be a smaller writing assignment. They will be due about every 2 to 3 weeks. And essentially what the assignments will be is a summary of a particular article and an analysis. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is this something that should be true today? Is this something that was just true then when it was written? For each assignment, you will have the opportunity to choose among 2 to 3 different articles. I'll give you, for the first assignment, there'll be 3 articles. You only have to read one of those, whichever one you think is the most interesting, and then write a reflection essay related to that. And so each time there will be your choice of 2 to 3 articles. And the essay will only be on one of them, so you'll choose which one you want to write on. You must submit 4 of those essays throughout the semester, but there are 5 opportunities. So that means you can choose whichever 4 you would like to write. If you don't want to do the first one, that's fine. You can write the last 4. If you want to write the first 4 and not do the last one, that's fine. If, however, you write all 5, I will choose the best 4 grades and then give you additional bonus points. So if you're concerned about your grade and want the opportunity to have some bonus points, that would be one way to accomplish it, is submitting all 5 possible essays to the restoration of the ancient order of things articles. Again, a little bit more guidance given, some rubrics in the assignment that kind of tell you the kind of things that I'm looking for in each of those. Nearly every week there will also be some discussion board posts that you're required to do. In most cases each week there will be 4 posts that you must do. Some weeks it'll only be 2 if there's an exam, for example. This first week, just some very brief discussion, only 2 this week, kind of an introductory post, who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, your interests, and then just a general, what do you think of when you hear the phrase restoration movement in America or the term restoration, etc. But other weeks, most weeks, you'll need to do 4 posts. Those posts can be, you must answer at least one of my questions. Usually there'll be multiple questions that I will provide. You need to answer at least one of my questions and then respond to someone else up to 3 times. So you could choose to answer 2 of my questions and then respond to 2 students. You could choose to answer 1 question and respond to 3 students. The first post each week has to be at least 100 words. So the post in response to one of my questions has to be at least 100 words. The other responses have to be at least 25 words. The first post each week, after this first week there's a little leniency because we're kind of starting in the middle of the week. But after that, each week, the first post is due by Wednesday at the end of the day, and then the rest of the post at the end of the week, Sunday, at the end of the day. So make sure to keep up with those posts. Again, there's not a lot of writing that needs to be done each week, but it is something that you need to be involved in, and so don't forget to keep up with those discussion posts. There will be a total of three exams throughout the semester, 2 during the course and then the final. The exams in the course, there will be one due at the end of week 6 and one due at the end of week 10. I'll provide a study guide at least 2 weeks before the exam, and it might include multiple choice questions or short answer questions, might be identification, and usually at least one essay. These exams will be self-contained, meaning that the first exam will only be on material up through week 6. The second exam will be material from that first exam through week 10. So it won't be cumulative, it'll just be material since the first exam. The study guide will have more information, will help you focus on the information that you need to pay attention to, and will hopefully give you more more guidance regarding what you need to examine and pay attention to as you study. The final exam will be at the end of the course. It will be comprehensive. It will be comprehensive in the overall principles. There won't be as much focus on details throughout the course. Part of the exam, part of the final will be material covered since week 10, and then there will be some comprehensive essays that ask you to cover some broad themes and principles found throughout the course. You'll have a little bit longer of an exam, a little bit more time for that exam, and there will be a study guide provided for that as well. Here's the breakdown of what each assignment is worth. I do want to say some things about the attendance or participation here in just a little bit, because it's a part of the grade, but it's not an assessment of what we've been doing in the class or what you've learned. A few of you have had me in classes before, so you know that I do my semesters out of 1,000 points for a couple of reasons. First, so that it's fairly easy to figure out where you are, how you're doing in the course, and what you need to do to get to the point you want to get. So that, if you look at your course, or you look at your grade midway through, and say, okay, I have this many points, what do I need to do in the second half of the semester to get an A in the course or a B in the course? The other reason for doing the assignments out of 1,000 points is so that no one particular assignment is going to damage your entire semester. So if you forget to do a couple discussion posts, it is not going to destroy your semester. But if you continue to not do the discussion posts and you don't do the reflection essays and you do poorly on exam 1, and etc., right, it can pile up. But no one particular assignment is going to completely ruin doing poorly on any one particular assignment is not going to ruin your semester. Here is the grading scale, what each, 900 to 1,000 points is an A, 800 to 899 is a B, etc. Now, in this course, you're not going to be attending like you would an on-ground course. There are not specific times that you have to be active in the course. You have to be active each week and submit assignments each week, but there's not a specific situation where you have to be online at a specific point. However, there are some expectations in this course of your participation in it through discussion boards, but also through submitting notes of specific lectures, or what they call them, classes, information that we are covering. So each week you'll be required to submit notes either through Blackboard. There'll be a link for student submission. All of this information separated by weeks will be available under course content, so that you can look at week 1 and see what's required, week 2 what's required, etc., and submit notes and links. You'll have links to videos and those kind of things. Now, each of those is worth 4 points. If you miss submission of 3 for whatever reason, you can still get out a total of 100 possible points. If you miss more than 7 of those, it could result in an FA. As an online course, also, if you are not active and you don't participate for a certain amount of time, you could be withdrawn from the course. So make sure that you are active in the course, submitting the notes, participating in the discussion boards. These are all ways to demonstrate your engagement and will keep you from getting that withdrawal, keep you from getting the FA. As I mentioned, the notes can be submitted through Blackboard. You can also submit them to me electronically by email. Some students might prefer to write out their notes by hand. That's perfectly acceptable. In that case, you don't need to copy it over. You can just take a photograph, and send me copies of the pictures of your notes to demonstrate that you've watched the videos. Certainly, you can type up your notes in a word processing document and submit that as well. What I'm looking for is more than just a copying of the PowerPoint slides and the bullet points, but that you are also getting down the material that is being expressed in the lectures. I would encourage you to be very, very attentive to this and try to be as diligent and expansive as you can, because these notes are going to help you prepare for exams. So the more information you can get down, the better. If you have any questions about what I'm looking for, feel free to get in contact with me about it. I'll also try to give you some comments after that first week, after your first submission. The submission, I'll say, well, okay, this is good, but you need to be, include a little bit more, or those kind of things. In many cases, exams can be made up with an excused absence. We're not doing reading quizzes. That should say other assignments. So if you miss other assignments, I will accept essays up to 2 days late. There'll be a reduction in points, but after 2 days, you won't receive a grade unless you've made arrangements with me. But for discussion posts, some other assignments, just missing an exam but you don't have an excused absence, unless you've made arrangements with me, I won't be usually allowing makeup work. And so I actually have this on another slide again. So the idea here is to contact me as soon as possible if something comes up. It's better to try and address something earlier than later. I have more opportunities to try and help you in doing that. If after submitting something and receiving the grade for it, you have a question about the grade, or you feel like maybe I missed something or overlooked something. For example, I return an essay and say, you should have talked about this, and you say, well, it's right there in paragraph 4. Contact me about that. I do make mistakes. The university policy is you have 3 days after the graded work is returned to you to question that and to ask for a regrade. So feel free to get in contact with me about that. I do make mistakes, and so I'm willing to go back and review graded work. And then either say, okay, you were right, and adjust your grade, or say, no, I see what you're trying to say, but this is, this didn't sufficiently answer it, or maybe better explain something. But, feel free to contact with me about it. I'm not going to be vindictive. You don't need to worry about me trying to find other things wrong with it or lowering the grade. But seriously, if you do feel like the grade should have been higher, then get in contact with me about that. Also, already mentioned, of course, about the makeup or late work. This is the one that I wanted to talk about, had it on a previous slide there, but essentially the same kind of thing as on the previous slide. With an online course, it is tempting to try to it's tempting to try and circumvent some things, or maybe you're tempted more to do some things that would break academic integrity. And so I want to emphasize here as we begin the importance of academic honesty and presenting your best work. In this course, we are not doing any research assignments. So the reflection essays are your thoughts. The critical engagement is your thoughts. I'm looking for what you think about the particular things you've been reading. And because of that, make sure that what you produce written-wise for me is your own work. You do not need any outside sources beyond the texts of the class and the material that is provided in the video lectures. If, however, you choose, for whatever reason, to use someone else's work, make sure you give them credit. Do not try to pass off what somebody else has done or what else somebody else has said as your work. I will catch you. We will have to have a very difficult discussion that could result in a variety of consequences. So it is better to get in touch with me if you're not sure how to give someone credit, how to cite a source. But I would encourage you not to even go there. And if there's something you don't understand in a reading assignment, feel free to get in contact with me. If there's something that you're unclear about as far as what I'm looking for in an assignment, please get in contact with me. Let me help you instead of trying to find something that you can, and then you decide, well, I'm going to present this as mine. I'm not going to give credit. I'm not going to indicate that this is somebody else's work. And then we have to have a discussion about plagiarism or cheating. If you need academic accommodations because of a documented condition, please make sure to get in contact with Project Key and the Center for Disability Studies as soon as possible. If that is something that applies to you, you probably already know to do that. But make sure to do that as early in the semester as possible so that we can make sure that we put things in place that will help you succeed in the course. The information for this is, of course, available in the Blackboard site, but it's probably something that you already have available if that applies to you. Since this is an online course, probably most of the communication you'll have with me will be electronic. Some of you are on campus at Faulkner in Montgomery, and so if you are in Montgomery and want to stop by my office, I am in my office Monday through Thursday, 10:45 to 12. You can feel free to stop by then or set up another time. My office phone number is also available in the syllabus and in the instructor contact link. So if you'd like to call me at that time, during those times, that's fine as well. You can all call at other times and leave a message if I'm not in my office. But most cases, you're going to probably be corresponding with me through email, and that's fine. I do try to check my email fairly regularly. If you do not hear from me within 48 hours after emailing me, feel free to email me again. It's quite possible it got lost, or I forgot to respond, or something else came up. I try to keep my email up in my office, try to check it regularly, respond as quickly as I can. But if after 48 hours you haven't heard from me, please feel free to email me again so that I can get in contact with you. And I would encourage you, seriously, if there is something that you're confused about, unsure about, don't hesitate to get in contact with me. Let me know what I can do to help you best succeed in this course. It can be overwhelming in times. There can be a lot of information to process. So if something gets confusing, or you don't understand an assignment, or if you can't find something that should be available on Blackboard or somewhere else, please get in contact with me. Let me know what I can do to help you succeed. I'm looking forward to a great semester, looking forward to interacting with all of you, and so I hope that this introductory video helps give you an idea of the course. Please also refer to, as I mentioned previously, the syllabus and the Blackboard site, or contact me if you have any questions.